Did you feel betrayed by it?
I felt humiliated.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most outrageous lies celebrities tried to pass off that were eventually sniffed out by the public.
And it's so unfortunate. Your very name has become an adverb for lying.
Number 30, SZA. If people already love you for your music, there's no need to lie just to impress them. R&B singer SZA told fans that she had never owned a TV, only for a picture to emerge of her supposedly with one she owned. Then she said her freckles were natural, they weren't, and that she wasn't, quote, a cake or pie person, but had been photographed enjoying a birthday cake. That all paled in comparison to her claim of earning a degree in marine biology from an Ivy League school. In reality, she had enrolled in Delaware State University for that program, but dropped out to pursue music. Considering how well that worked out, it's a mystery why she felt the need to tweak the story. Number 29, Dakota Johnson. Architectural Digest's Open Door series gives fans an inside look at their favorite celebrities' homes. In March 2020, viewers got a peek inside Dakota Johnson's stylishly private abode, complete with vintage sofas, a serene backyard oasis, and a gorgeous green kitchen with a bowl of limes. While giving the tour, Johnson pointed out the limes and professed her undying love for them.
I love limes. I love them. They're great. I love them so much, and I like to present them like this in my house.
However, it turns out this was a bold-faced lie. Apparently, the fruits had been placed there as set dressing without Johnson's knowledge, and because they were too hard to ignore, she just went along with it. In fact, not only does she not love limes, she's actually mildly allergic to them.
Now, what do you do with all of those limes?
I actually didn't even know that they were in there. I was giving the tour and went into the kitchen, and it was set dressing. I'm allergic to limes.
Oh my, stop it now.
Number 28, Victoria Beckham.
Victoria Beckham reveals she had her breast implants removed in the upcoming issue of Allure magazine.
After giving birth to her first son in 1999, fans noticed something had changed about Victoria Beckham. Her bust size had gotten dramatically bigger. Sure, motherhood comes with a myriad of physical changes, but this one seemed a little too enhanced. Back then, Beckham shut down rumors of cosmetic surgery, insisting that she was, quote, completely natural. According to the former Spice Girl, her increased bust size was a result of support tape and push-up bras. The denials continued until 2005 when her lawyers let it slip that she had actually undergone breast augmentation. But it would take until 2014 for Beckham to finally confess herself, revealing that she had removed the implants and regretted ever having them in the first place.
And she does say she regretted it, and she was very insecure about the way she looked.
Number 27, Olivia Jade. Getting into a prestigious university can be tough. Unless, of course, your wealthy, well-connected parents are willing to grease a few palms. The daughter of fashion designer Massimo Giannulli and actress Lori Loughlin, Olivia Jade was at the center of a scandal in 2019 due to her parents paying to get her admitted into the University of Southern California.
This morning, Olivia Jade Giannulli is at the center of a new twist in the college admissions scandal.
Lord, do you want to say anything to the other young students out there?
A scandal that has already engulfed her parents, actress Lori Loughlin and fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, who were fighting charges they paid $500,000 in bribes to get their daughters into USC.
Prosecutors charged them with fraud and bribery and uncovered a fake athletic profile that painted Jade as a champion rower, despite never having played the sport. The deception also included staged pictures of Jade and her sister Isabella posing on rowing machines. Although both girls initially secured spots at USC, their enrollment didn't last long once the truth emerged.
Olivia Jade, not to, and to try to take one of those legitimate spots of another athlete, I just think is deplorable, and she didn't address that.
Number 26, Hasan Minhaj. This former Daily Show correspondent was a shoo-in to take over as host until The New Yorker published an article accusing him of embellishing the stories in his stand-up routines. In Minhaj's special, The King's Jester, he recounted receiving an envelope of white powder he initially believed was anthrax. The powder then spilled on his daughter, and he rushed her to the hospital only to learn it was harmless. He detailed another story about an FBI informant infiltrating his mosque and physically assaulting him.
It was kind of storytelling, and it turns out that he made a lot of it up and said, he kept on using the phrase with me, there was an emotional truth to it.
Yes.
So, and I think what he means by that is, he's right. People after 9/11 who are Muslim did feel a sense of danger. But again, like, things didn't happen to him. And
The New Yorker claimed that both stories were exaggerated, which Minhaj more or less acknowledged. However, in a YouTube video, he called the article, quote, needlessly misleading, insisting that his embellishments weren't deception, but only a storytelling technique.
But this New Yorker article definitely makes me look like one. It was so needlessly misleading. Not just about my stand-up, but also me as a person. The truth is, racism, FBI surveillance, and threats to my family happened.
Number 25, Hilaria Baldwin.
How's married life?
Married life is really nice.
Born Hillary Lynn Hayward Thomas in Boston, Massachusetts, this yoga instructor and entrepreneur eventually reinvented herself as Hilaria. In 2020, after noticing that Hilaria Baldwin had been misrepresenting herself as Spanish, one Twitter user compiled a thread exposing her. This included a clip from The Today Show where Baldwin appeared to forget the English word for cucumber, and various interviews of her speaking in a Spanish accent.
We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers.
This thread unleashed a wave of more inconsistencies, like her agency's website falsely listing her birthplace as Mallorca, and her willingness to let people believe she was half Spanish. Baldwin eventually apologized for the falsehoods, explaining that though she was raised with both American and Spanish cultures, she should have been clearer about her actual roots.
There's been some questions about where I'm born. I'm born in Boston. And then I spent some of my childhood in Boston, some of my childhood in Spain.
But her biography on her agency's website states Baldwin was born in Mallorca, Spain.
Number 24, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan may be a wrestling legend, but he's also a master at rewriting history to make himself look cooler. Perhaps his most outrageous tale involved the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. According to Hogan's WWE-produced autobiography, Presley was a die-hard fan of his who would swing by to watch him wrestle live in Memphis.
But when I started wrestling in Memphis, he used to ride a Harley and put a helmet on at night. He'd go out at night and ride his Harley around. And then he'd come to the Mid-South Coliseum and sit way up in the top of the building and watch wrestling.
Sounds impressive, until you realize that Presley passed away in 1977, 2 full years before Hogan even set foot in a Memphis ring. That was far from his only lie. Hogan also claimed that both the Rolling Stones and Metallica wanted him as their bassist, and that he was Darren Aronofsky's first pick for the lead role in The Wrestler. Both claims have since been debunked.
Well, I quit playing music when I started wrestling in 77, you know. And this was, I don't know, this was in
He's
the
Hulk
80s,
Hogan, and he
80s,
still wants to be a rock star.
No,
Everyone
but
wants to be
man,
a goddamn rock star.
Brother, can you imagine being in Metallica
exactly.
or
It
Rolling
would be
Stones? Are you
huge.
kidding me?
Number 23, Tonya Harding. In arguably the most notorious scandal in figure skating, Olympian Nancy Kerrigan was ambushed in January 1994, leaving her with a bruised leg and her career in jeopardy. The attack was meant to sideline her from competing and was eventually traced to Jeff Gillooly, the then husband of Kerrigan's rival Tonya Harding. Naturally, suspicion fell on Harding. Although she denied prior knowledge of the attack, Harding later pleaded guilty to covering it up and earned a lifetime ban from the U.S. Figure Skating Association.
Tonya Harding always denied any involvement in the attack, but she was fined $100,000 and banned for life from competitive skating.
For decades, she stuck to the story, until 2018 when she finally admitted in an ABC special that she knew about the plot beforehand. But of course, she maintained that she had nothing to do with actually carrying it out.
I don't know, we talked, we were at an event 4 years after I was attacked, but we didn't really speak to each other, so it was very awkward and strange.
So you don't feel like you ever got an apology?
Not a direct. It doesn't matter at this point.
Number 22, Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew shared a close friendship with disgraced financier and sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein for years. During this period, he was accused of engaging in unlawful activities with Virginia Giuffre, allegedly with Epstein's help. Following Epstein's death in 2019, Andrew sat for a disastrous interview with BBC's Newsnight, where he denied having sex with Giuffre and claimed to have only met Epstein once after his 2008 conviction to sever ties. That, however, turned out to be a lie.
Court documents have revealed that may not be the case. One email sent to Jeffrey Epstein from a member of the British royal family in February 2011 said, "Keep in close touch and we'll play some more soon."
Court papers from a separate civil case revealed emails showing that Andrew arranged a meeting with Epstein in February 2011, despite his claims that their last encounter was in December 2010. Although he denied Giuffre's allegations, he later settled with her for a reported £5 million.
The problem was the fact that once he had been convicted,
You stayed with him.
I stayed with him, and that's the bit that as it were, I kick myself for on a daily basis.
Number 21, James Frey.
In this corner, there's Oprah. In this corner, we've got James Frey to defend himself. I don't know why he's there, but he's there trying to defend himself.
Back when the Oprah Winfrey Show ruled daytime TV, every author dreamed of making it onto Oprah's book club. In September 2005, James Frey hit the jackpot when his memoir, A Million Little Pieces, got the coveted nod, turning it into a cultural phenomenon. The book detailed Frey's experience with substance use disorder and journey to sobriety. However, a few months later, an investigative website accused Frey of fabricating multiple details in the book. Winfrey initially stood by Frey, but as the evidence mounted, she brought him onto her show and grilled him about the memoir's authenticity.
I was defending my turf and defending every single viewer who had bought that book. I am standing here on behalf of the reader who's pissed off.
Frey ultimately admitted to embellishing parts of the story, leaving Winfrey and her audience disappointed. As a result, subsequent editions of the book included a disclaimer.
And this came as clear as, as if it were being spoken to me, is that what people saw was my lack of compassion.
Number 20, Tiger Woods. Needless to say, a successful marriage hinges on openness and honesty among all parties involved.
Tiger Woods and Elin Nordegren were once the picture-perfect couple. The golf great and his model wife.
Hence, it's understandable why professional golfer Tiger Woods and Elin Nordegren's marriage fell apart when it was revealed that he engaged in extramarital affairs and lied about them. This shocking revelation came in 2009 after Woods crashed his car just outside his Florida home, triggering media scrutiny into his personal life. Subsequently, several women came forward alleging that they had had affairs with the golfer. Woods eventually owned up to the claims, admitting that he had lied to a lot of people, including himself.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
The fallout from the scandal not only cost him his marriage, it also had significant consequences for his career. Number 19, Star Jones. The long-running daytime talk show The View was designed as a platform for women to engage in candid discussions about various topical issues. But it turns out one of its original panelists, Star Jones, wasn't so candid about her personal life.
I was struggling with my weight since I was 18 years old. Fitness wasn't important to me. Nutrition wasn't important to me.
Food was my vice and my comfort.
In 2003, Jones, who was once diagnosed as morbidly obese, began to lose weight in a rather dramatic fashion. According to her, this was the result of a strict dieting and exercise regimen. She also vaguely alluded to receiving a, quote, medical intervention. However, rumors persisted that seemed to suggest otherwise. Finally, in 2007, Jones confirmed the speculations, disclosing that she had indeed undergone gastric bypass surgery to help with her weight loss.
In 2003, I took control and underwent gastric bypass surgery.
I went from 307 pounds to, at the lowest, 142 pounds.
Number 18, Rick Ross. In 2008, a photograph emerged in the media showing Rick Ross dressed as a correctional officer. The rapper took offense to its publication, insisting that his face had been digitally manipulated onto someone else's body by, quote, online hackers.
It's a lot of people that don't understand, and I don't blame them.
In fact, he took things a step further by challenging anyone to provide solid proof that he ever worked in the prison system. Well, investigative website The Smoking Gun decided to take him up on the challenge. They unearthed his personal record with the Department of Corrections, complete with his social security number and copies of his birth certificate. Faced with the overwhelming evidence, Ross confessed to his past job as a corrections officer in Florida between 1995 and 1997.
What made you want to do that?
One of my big homies had just got in trouble, and a lot of things were going on, and he just suggested it.
Number 17, Rebel Wilson. The film industry is often seen as a realm of smoke and mirrors, a reputation that was certainly not helped by Australian actress Rebel Wilson. Back in 2015, an Australian magazine alleged that Wilson had fabricated several aspects of her personal history.
People were calling me a liar and a fake, and
For someone like me who prides herself on being very candid and authentic, it was just probably the most devastating thing they could have said to me.
The actress had claimed to be 29 years old that year and asserted that Rebel was her birth name. However, a former classmate countered this, stating that she was actually 36 at the time, and official records revealed her birth name as Melanie Elizabeth Bounds.
I pity her and I feel really sad for her that she would do that, because now she would have that on her conscience, and I feel like that's kind of probably karma enough for her.
In addition, Wilson's claim of a rough upbringing in the quote-unquote ghetto of Sydney was debunked, as evidence pointed to a, quote, very normal upper-middle-class background. Number 16, Bow Wow. Sometimes celebrities tell lies that seem understandable. Other times, such as in the case of Bow Wow, their fabrications are so ridiculous and unnecessary they leave you wondering, why? In 2017, Bow Wow shared a picture of a private jet on his Instagram, claiming he was flying to New York with the aircraft. Yet shortly after, a fan spotted him seated in economy class on a New York-bound commercial flight.
Oh, you just posted a picture you like?
Yeah.
Well, what the hell's the problem?
Because the way it looked as if I was taking the big boy jet going to New York, and really I was on Delta.
A quick reverse image search revealed that the original picture Bow Wow posted was actually a stock photo from the website of a private transport service. This led to social media users ridiculing the rapper, sparking the hashtag Bow Wow challenge, in which they shared side-by-side pictures depicting a glamorous falsehood alongside their mundane reality.
If I fly commercial, no lie, this is real shit.
But you know a private jet means it's just for you, not for other people who could buy tickets to.
No. Well, they got this thing called JetSmart. Are you up on that?
Right.
Number 15, Ryan Lochte. All eyes were on decorated swimmer Ryan Lochte at the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. However, Lochte misused that attention and effectively derailed his career after falsely claiming to have been robbed at gunpoint by individuals impersonating police officers.
These guys came out with a badge, a police badge. No lights, no nothing, just a police badge. They pulled us over, they pulled out their guns, they told the other swimmers to get down on the ground.
The incident generated international attention, but as more details emerged, it became apparent that Lochte and 3 other swimmers allegedly vandalized a gas station bathroom and were made to pay for the damages. Lochte eventually apologized for over-exaggerating his story and was charged in Brazil with falsely reporting a crime.
I did lie about that one part, and I take full responsibility. I'm human. I made a mistake, a very big mistake, and it's something that I learned from, and I know that that will never happen again.
Although the charges were later dropped, the repercussions to his career were severe. He lost multiple endorsements and received a 10-month suspension from competitive swimming. Number 14, Brandy. In 2002, then 23-year-old singer Brandy appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show, where she announced that she was expecting her first child with music producer Robert Smith.
We recently learned that she got married and she's married now. Yes. And is expecting a baby girl this summer.
But that wasn't her only big announcement. She also revealed that she and Smith had gotten married in a secret ceremony months earlier. However, it turns out only one of those statements was true. After their relationship ended, Smith admitted that they had actually never gotten married. This claim was later confirmed by Brandy to none other than Oprah herself.
I felt the pressure of, again, having to be perfect. And I was scared.
According to the singer, they had fabricated the marriage story to protect her innocent image, as she desired to maintain the perception of not having a child out of wedlock. Number 13, The White Stripes. When Jack and Meg White first started gaining traction in the Detroit music scene as the indie rock duo The White Stripes, they made everyone believe they were siblings.
Hello, my sister and I would like to thank Much Music and everyone who voted for us for Best International Video.
This image persisted, even as the two rose to international fame. However, in 2002, a local Detroit paper did some digging and uncovered the truth. Jack and Meg were once married. They tied the knot in 1996, shortly before forming the band, and divorced in 2000, just as they began gaining widespread attention. Despite this revelation, they maintained that they were siblings. It wasn't until 2005 that Jack publicly acknowledged the deception, stating that they had propagated the lie so as to be taken more seriously as musicians.
And that ain't what you want to hear, but that's what I'll do.
Number 12. Bill O'Reilly. Conservative journalist Bill O'Reilly has faced scrutiny over some of his exaggerated claims. In 2013, O'Reilly asserted in a book that he was present outside the home where George de Mohrenschildt fatally shot himself and had heard the shotgun blast.
That's what O'Reilly wrote in the book. Plain and simple right there. O'Reilly says he was outside the guy's house in Florida when he heard the fatal gunshot. And he said basically the same thing on Fox News while promoting his book.
De Mohrenschildt had gained notoriety for his association with Lee Harvey Oswald before the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. However, this was later debunked as false. Then, in 2015, Mother Jones magazine published an article which disputed O'Reilly's claims that he was on the Falkland Islands during the 1982 war.
Because I was in a situation one time in a war zone in Argentina in the Falklands where my photographer got run down.
The controversy that ensued led O'Reilly to retract previous assertions that he had witnessed extreme violence during conflicts in El Salvador and Northern Ireland. Number 11. Steven Seagal. In addition to his roles in action films, Steven Seagal has also dabbled in reality TV, most notably the A&E series Steven Seagal Lawman.
That's him in the white t-shirt, Joaquin. That's him.
The show trailed him as a reserve deputy sheriff in Arizona and Louisiana. During his work on the series, Seagal claimed to be a licensed law enforcement officer in California. But when the LA Times did a little research, they found no evidence of such certification in either California or Louisiana. In fact, his role as a sheriff's deputy in Louisiana was purely ceremonial, handed to him by longtime Sheriff Harry Lee. Seagal has also claimed that he once helped train CIA agents, but shockingly, there's no proof of that either.
What do you think about this case? Well, I mean, unfortunately, I don't have all the details. I've been a police officer.
Number 10. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Though Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt would initially deny allegations of an affair, many did think it was a very big coincidence that the scandal broke out the same year that Pitt and then-wife Jennifer Aniston ultimately divorced.
At least I read this in the Vanity Fair article where you were saying that maybe two people, the nature of two people is not meant to be with each other forever.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what I was talking about.
Okay.
Actually, but there's just so much pressure on that from day one.
During the proceedings, Jolie would claim no infidelity took place and cited her father's cheating on her mother as ample deterrent. And yet, just a few months after the divorce was finalized, Jolie announced her pregnancy with Pitt's child. So, did they or didn't they? Well, in 2008, both Jolie and Pitt would refer to Mr. and Mrs. Smith as the movie where they, quote, fell in love, in 2 separate articles. So, we guess that answers that.
Hey, honey, I should probably tell you. I was married once before.
Number 9. Lil' Kim. Some lies can get you jail time. That's what Lil' Kim found out during a court proceeding in 2005. She told a federal grand jury that her co-manager, Damian Butler, and bodyguard Swift Jackson were not involved in a 2001 shootout in front of radio station Hot 97 in New York.
The 2 camps, I guess, saw each other here, and there was a war of words that were on records already between Foxy and Lil' Kim. It got out of hand, words were exchanged, and shots were fired.
She also claimed to have not been on the scene or to know one of the suspects. But Lil' Kim ran into big problems when security footage was released, showing that not only was Kim there, but so were Butler and Jackson. This misrecollection earned the rapper 366 days in prison, 30 days house arrest, and 3 years probation.
I'm turning myself in to the U.S. Marshals. It still feels surreal, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I thank all my fans and friends for all of their support.
Number 8. Paris Hilton. After serving jail time, Paris Hilton appeared on Larry King Live to talk about the experience. During the interview, King asked the heiress if she'd ever taken drugs, and twice she denied it, claiming all she's taken were meds for ADHD.
I've been on medication since I was a child. I have ADD, so I take medication for that.
That's the only thing you deal with, attention deficit disorder?
Yes.
Photos began to pop up showing Hilton smoking the green stuff, though, and perpetrators of a 2008 robbery claimed to have found other narcotics in her Hollywood mansion. However, what cast the most doubt on Paris's drug-free claims was when she was arrested on suspicion of drug possession in 2010. A suspicion cast due to 0.8 grams of the stuff being found in a handbag that also contained her credit cards, phone, and driver's license.
Today, she admitted she lied.
I was in possession, as well as telling the officer that the bag wasn't mine.
Number 7. Beyoncé. In a 2008 interview with Marie Claire UK, Beyoncé appeared to imply that some of the lyrics to her 2006 single Irreplaceable weren't actually aimed at Jay-Z.
So don't you ever for a second get to thinking you're irreplaceable.
Prompted by an onstage claim that B wrote the song for her ladies, Ne-Yo came forward saying he had written the lyrics himself, for himself. Ne-Yo went so far as to express regret for giving the song up, although he acknowledged it was better suited to a female artist. The singer also confirmed that Beyoncé rewrote the song's harmony and melody lines, and thus did in fact earn her songwriting credit, just not for the lyrics.
For her to take the song and make it hers, I didn't mind her saying, I wrote this for my girls at a concert or whatever the case may be, because in a way, technically, in a way, she did. You know, she put her spin on it. If you're gonna do it the exact same way I did it, you might as well let me keep it.
Number 6, Stephen Rannazzisi. Given the profound tragedy of the September 11th attacks, it's certainly not a good idea to falsely claim to be a survivor. If only someone had told that to Stephen Rannazzisi beforehand.
Did you out yourself, or did somebody bust you?
The Times.
The New York Times, yeah.
New York Times figured this out. Did you figure out how they figured out that you were lying about your experience during 9/11? Did you ever figure out how they busted you?
No, I don't.
The comedian and actor had previously described working as an account manager at Merrill Lynch in the South Tower on that fateful day. He claimed to have narrowly escaped the building shortly before the second plane hit, citing the experience as his motivation to move to Los Angeles to pursue an entertainment career. However, a New York Times investigation proved that it was all a bold-faced lie. Not only did Rannazzisi never work for Merrill Lynch, the company didn't even have offices in either tower at the time.
I truly, in all of my heart, wish that I had that voice that I feel like I have now that said, hey man, take a breath, relax. People are going to like you. People are going to understand who you are when they get to know you. You don't need to lie about that. Take that back.
Number 5, Milli Vanilli. They certainly can't blame this one on the rain. Milli Vanilli was hot in the late 80s, but soon after, their lip-syncing facade began to crack. Charles Shaw, one of the actual singers, came forward in 1989 and revealed he was one of 3 vocalists who recorded the tracks. As the vocals were attributed to Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus, things got messy fast. Morvan and Pilatus had to ultimately relinquish their Grammy, and lawsuits were sprung on them and Arista Records, citing consumer fraud protection laws. While Morvan recovered from the humiliation, Pilatus did not, as he grappled with substance use disorder until his death in 1998.
But with us, it went from one day to the next. We lost the fame. We were pushed aside suddenly, and you had to live with that.
Number 4, Kim Kardashian. In 2007, when Kim Kardashian was only semi-famous, rumors emerged about a sex tape made by her and her ex, Ray J.
Whatever we did in our private time was our private time, and never once did we think that it would get out.
In an interview with Complex magazine, she publicly denied that any sex tape was made. Even worse, she denied it to her then-boyfriend, Nick Cannon. When the tape finally did get leaked, Nick called it quits, saying it was mostly the deception that pushed him away, despite claiming she wouldn't release a sex tape for any amount of money. Kim is reported to have settled for a $5 million payout from Vivid Entertainment, and has long battled armchair speculation that she herself was directly involved in the leak.
You know there are people who say that you put it out yourself. You know that.
Yeah, and, you know, I think why would anyone put that humiliation on their family like that?
Number 3, Jussie Smollett. One of the most confounding celebrity lies ever told remains that involving actor Jussie Smollett. In January 2019, Smollett made headlines after claiming to have been the victim of a hate crime in Chicago.
I was just jumped, and then I look down and I see that there's a rope around my neck, which I hadn't.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No,
you didn't
because
see?
it was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
How long did this all
It felt like minutes, but it probably was like 30 seconds.
Smollett alleged that he was attacked by 2 individuals who hurled homophobic and racial slurs, doused him with an unknown chemical substance, and placed a noose around his neck. The news sent shockwaves throughout the country, with many high-profile figures expressing their support. But as the Chicago PD investigated the incident, several inconsistencies in Smollett's story emerged. That was because it was all staged. Smollett was subsequently convicted of felony disorderly conduct for lying to the police, effectively derailing his career.
This was planned.
This was premeditated to the extreme. They idolized you, and they would have done anything for you, and you chose them because you knew that you could trust them, that they were loyal to you.
Number 2, Brian Williams. In 2003, while on assignment in Iraq, Brian Williams was traveling on a military Chinook helicopter when the chopper ahead was hit by RPG fire.
On the ground, we learned the Chinook ahead of us was almost blown out of the sky. That hole was made by a rocket-propelled grenade, or RPG.
Williams reported a story to this effect at the time, but as the years passed, the story morphed until he was no longer a mere witness, but a victim of the attack. Williams chalked up the mistelling as a bungled attempt to thank a vet involved in the incident, an explanation that seemingly overlooked his past reimaginings of the event.
I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft.
The fallout was a 6-month suspension from NBC Nightly News and a serious blow to his professional reputation. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Lance Armstrong. Cancer survivor and Tour de France champion Lance Armstrong always maintained that his legacy was drug-free.
For 7 straight years, he dominated arguably the hardest sporting event in the world.
History in the making, 7 times a winner of the Tour de France.
Around him grew an empire that included a powerful foundation dedicated to fighting cancer.
But in 2012, after years of denying charges to the contrary, the U.S. anti-doping agency determined that was a lie. By October of that year, Armstrong had forfeited prizes and awards dating back to 1998. He was stripped of all 7 Tour de France titles, and he was banned for life from Olympic sports. The IOC would later delete Armstrong's Olympic results and take back his bronze medal.
We'd all love to go back in life and have a few do-overs. Never should have taken it on, especially knowing that most of what they said was true.
Additionally, he was forced out of the foundation that once carried his name, lost multiple sponsorships, and even saw the episodes of Arthur he appeared in be banned. All due to this one massive, long-running lie. What other celebrity tales smell fishy to you? Let us know in the comments below.
Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this.
Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.